The lobby of the Windsor-Preston Private Bank was a temple dedicated to preservation of old wealth. The floors were a seamless expanse of checkered Italian marble. The walls were lined with hand-polished mahogany, and massive crystal chandeliers hung like heavy, glowing crowns from the gilded ceiling. At Windsor-Preston, you didn't just deposit money, you deposited a legacy. Dr. Camille Vane stepped into the hall with the quiet authority of someone who managed more assets than the bank's entire branch. She was dressed in a tailored charcoal wool coat with a silk scarf, elegant, understated, and powerful. Camille was the CEO of Vane Global Logistics, and she was at the bank for a very specific reason: to sign the final disbursement papers for a $5.9 billion merger with the Sterling Cross Group. She approached the private wealth teller station, where a young woman named Tiffany sat behind a thick slab of reinforced glass. Tiffany was third-generation old money staff, a woman who prided herself on knowing exactly who belonged in the Windsor-Preston halls. We want to take a quick moment to thank you for your support, love, and kindness. We wouldn't have come this far without you. Subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue to bring you great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep this channel growing collectively. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to the story. "Good morning," Camille said, her voice calm and steady. "I'm here to authorize the wire transfer for the Vane-Sterling merger. I believe the documents are waiting for my signature." Tiffany didn't look up from her screen. She continued typing for a full 30 seconds before finally shifting her gaze. Her eyes raked over Camille, noting her skin, her braids, and her lack of flashy jewelry. To Tiffany, Camille looked like someone who had wandered in from the public street, not a woman about to move billions. "This is the private wealth wing, dear," Tiffany said, her voice dripping with a jagged, artificial sweetness. "The personal checking and savings branch is 3 blocks down on the corner. You'll find the lines that are much more appropriate for you." The social jury, a group of elderly billionaires in pinstripe suits and their wives in pearls, paused. They didn't speak, but their silence was heavy, their eyes moving between the teller and the woman in the charcoal coat. In the background, the natural realism of the bank continued. A man in a tuxedo was being served espresso by a quiet attendant, and a young intern sat on a velvet bench. His smartphone tilted slightly upward, recording the interaction for bank's internal client experience log. "I am aware of where I am," Camille replied, her voice dropping into a register of cold, vibrating steel. "I am Camille Vane. Check the account under Vane Global. The authorization is for the $5.9 billion closing." Tiffany let out a sharp, mocking laugh. "Vane Global? That account requires a Tier 1 biometric and physical ID verification. Let's see it then." Camille pulled out her titanium core executive ID and slid it through the drawer. Tiffany picked up the ID, barely glanced at it, and then, with a deliberate, flicking motion of her wrist, threw it back. The ID hit the marble counter, skidded across the surface, and fell onto the floor at Camille's feet. "It looks fake," Tiffany sneered. "And even if it were real, I don't feel comfortable authorizing a multi-billion-dollar move for someone who doesn't fit the classic profile of our clients." Security. 2 white security guards in black suits with gold Windsor-Preston crests stepped forward. They moved with a practiced, heavy-footed aggression. "Is there a problem, Tiffany?" the lead guard asked, his hand moving toward his belt. "This woman is attempting to commit high-level wire fraud," Tiffany lied, pointing at Camille. "She's using a forged ID to access the Vane Global reserves. Get her out of here before she ruins our reputation." The guard stepped toward Camille. The lead guard reached for her arm. "Ma'am, you need to come with us. Now." Camille Vane didn't flinch. She didn't even look at the guards. She reached down, picked up her ID from the marble floor, and wiped a speck of dust from it. "Tiffany," Camille said softly, "you mentioned reputation. I think you misunderstood whose reputation is at stake today." Camille pulled out her phone and hit a speed dial. "Edward, this is Camille. Cancel the merger. Yes, the $5.9 billion closing. I'm pulling all Vane Global assets out of Windsor-Preston. The legacy clause, violation of dignity and security. Move everything to the International Trust. Do it now. The silence that followed was absolute. Even the massive chandeliers seemed to go still. You can't just cancel a merger because I asked for your ID, Tiffany stammered, her face turning a splotchy, panicked red. I didn't cancel it because you asked for my ID, Camille replied. I canceled it because you threw it. And I canceled it because this bank, which claims to be a temple of legacy, has allowed its staff to believe that their prejudices are more valuable than their clients. Suddenly, the heavy mahogany doors of manager's office burst open. Arthur Preston, the bank's managing director, ran out, his face a deathly, translucent white. He was staring at his tablet, his hands shaking. Dr. Vane, please. Arthur gasped. I just received the wire retraction. That's half of our liquid reserves. We've already announced a merger to the press. Then you should have trained your staff to recognize a partner. When she walks in the door, Arthur, Camille said. She gestured toward the young man on the bench. The entire interaction was recorded on your own safety audit stream. Your teller threw my ID on the floor and called me a fraud. Your security tried to physically remove me. Arthur turned to Tiffany, his eyes wide with combination of rage and terror. You threw her ID? I thought she was a scammer. Tiffany shrieked. She looks like the woman who owns this bank's debt, you idiot. Arthur roared. Camille stepped forward, her quiet authority now filling the entire hall. Arthur, the $5.9 billion merger is dead. The Sterling Cross Group has already been notified. I will not partner with a firm that uses Windsor-Preston as its primary bank. You have 60 minutes to prepare the physical transfer documents for the remaining Vane accounts. Dr. Vane, please, Arthur pleaded. I'll fire her. I'll fire the guards. We'll issue a public apology. You will fire them, Camille said, looking at Tiffany, who was now weeping into her hands. But not for me. You'll fire them to save what's left of your pathetic pride. My business is gone. And by tomorrow, every other Tier 1 investor will know why. Camille turned to the two white security guards. They were standing frozen, realizing that the woman they were about to eject was the reason their paychecks cleared. Gentlemen, Camille said, I'll see myself out. I'd hate to make your job any harder than your ignorance already has. She walked toward the exit, her charcoal coat flowing behind her as she passed through the heavy doors. The social jury in. The lobby remained silent, staring at the teller station where the Windsor-Preston legacy had just been erased by a single arrogant flick of a wrist. Behind her, the massive crystal chandeliers continued to glow, but the bank felt empty, a hollow mahogany box that had just lost its soul and its future for $5.9 billion.